Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Now, this is a highly requested one, full free branded dropshipping course. This actually is free as well, so you guys can look in the description. No fucking affiliate links, no book a call funnel, anything like that. This is actually everything that I know in dropshipping, everything that I have used and I continue to use on a daily basis to make a lot of money. If you guys are just getting into dropshipping, you've never heard of it before, or you have been in dropshipping for a while, maybe you haven't found your first winner yet, I'm gonna try and make this video as beginner friendly as I possibly can, but it also does get a little bit advanced. Main reason why I'm making this video is so when one of my friends, like my family members and stuff like that, they ask, what do I do? Like, how do I start dropshipping? I can send them to this video. Just give you guys the entire roadmap for free. So, why listen to me? Who am I? My name is Rai. I'm an entrepreneur based out of Australia. I'm 19 at the moment. These are two brands that I've pretty much publicly documented on my channel. You can scroll back to like January, see when we were losing money. Done about $2.5 million now, pushing 3 million. We've also got two 10,000 order plaques, and probably the most important bit of evidence, I am a 3 on the Norwood Balding scale. What does this mean? It means I've been through some shit. So yeah, who shouldn't dropship? I would recommend highly that you have a budget between $1,000 to $5,000. For example, it took us around $4,000, I believe, to find our first winner, and then we made like fucking 2 million. So 2 million revenue and multi six figures of that is profit. But for the most part, you do want to have some budget. You also want to have at least 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm talking 3 to 4 hours of deep work every single day, which means you do need to fucking get a job. Like ideally in the beginning stages, and then use that to fund dropshipping. Once that takes off, then you can quit your job and you can do whatever you want. So what is dropshipping? Now, dropshipping is just a fulfillment method, okay? It's not selling shitty products from China. The word dropshipping gets such a bad rep nowadays, but it is literally just a fulfillment method. So what you're doing is you're essentially connecting a customer to a supplier. You are ideally marking the product up by at least 3 times the amount, which means that after ads, you are walking away with a profit. So that is all dropshipping actually is. And one of the biggest objections that a lot of people have is, why don't people go to Amazon? Why don't people just like go to another website where it's cheaper? This is the biggest difference between dropshipping like 10 years ago or like 5 years ago and dropshipping now is you'll see the older products like fidget spinners, fucking campfire diffusers, all this different stuff. As compared to the new products, it's more insecurity driven products. Like, so this instant lipstick, I wouldn't recommend these products. These are just massive winners that have popped off in the past. I like to use this all the time, but you can see this, it's an insecurity driven product. So girls who want to have more attractive lips, and then this concealer, which you put on skin that is like, I don't know, if you have like birthmarks, tattoos, anything like this, you apply it on the skin and it instantly hides that. So you can see the pattern that we're going after here. We're selling emotions. We're not selling just basic, cheap, crappy products. That is why you're able to get people to buy, is through the process. It's called impulse buying. They see your product, they see your ad, they feel emotionally resonated with, they go through onto your website and they actually click purchase. So as long as people keep having insecurities and emotions, there's always going to be a market for dropshipping. It doesn't matter what happens. So with all of that out of the way now, I want to jump into the product section. So how do you choose a product? I want you to remove all your previous beliefs for a second and come into this with an open mind, especially if you've been dropshipping for a while, because product is not everything. And what I mean by this is when it comes to the graph, sorry about the dogs barking, your product is probably 30 to 40%. Although a good product makes it a lot easier to make better ads, if you have a great product, but your ads are absolutely terrible, your offer sucks and your website sucks, you're never going to be able to scale. You're never going to be able to get sales. So your creatives are about 50% of it. Product is like 20 to 30%, and then your offer and your website also fall into there. So that is my personal opinion. That is from what I've seen and everything that I've seen in dropshipping so far. That is one of the biggest observations I've made. A way that you're able to double your success instantly is by completing feedback loops, and the way you're able to do that is by asking yourself one question. What failed? It wasn't the product. Was it your website? Was it your offer? Was it your ads? The faster you're able to learn and then you're able to implement these changes into your next product launch, the faster you're going to be able to get success and the faster you're going to be able to scale up. I break this down a lot more in detail later, but yeah, just setting the premise there. So the product criteria, how I'm selecting products, I want to make it very, very simple for you guys who are just getting into it. If you can choose a product that solves an insecurity or a very emotional problem, for example, like an insecurity being like weight. People are insecure about their weight, about acne, or an emotional problem about their kids, about their pets. Any product that solves a problem like that is a green flag. Now, fast. What I mean by this is if you're able to essentially show someone their insecurity being resolved on the ad, like that tattoo concealer as an example. The reason why that product did so well as front page of Callo was because you essentially just put it onto the skin and it instantly resolves. Like, you're able to cover up neck tattoos, face tattoos, everything. Selling supplements and all that, supplements is one of the best niches to get into, but also it can be a little bit difficult because convincing someone to buy something where they buy it and then they instantly see the result, as compared to supplements, as you buy it, you have to take it for like 60 to 90 days usually to see some form of results or feel some sort of difference. People tend to have a lot more objections. So 3 times your COGS now. COGS just means cost of goods, which means that if you are buying a product for $5, you have to sell it at $15 minimum, or buy for 10, sell for 30. And what this means is when it comes to actually advertising, because the way that we're going to be advertising our product is through Facebook ads, it means that you are able to actually make a profit. Because if you're just running like a 2x or something like that, when it comes to actually acquiring customers, your cost per acquisition has to be extremely low in order to be profitable. And then the next one is lots of content available, because the strategy here is initially in the earlier stages of testing, when we are validating products, we do want to go out and we do want to rip other people's content, and we want to rip their UGC and run it as ads. Now, a very big issue or a very big problem a lot of you guys reach out to me and say is this a massive, is this illegal? Will I get fucking fined? Will I get banned and all this? I mean, I'm not a lawyer or anything, so take this with I have to kind of say this, because if I say, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it and you guys get sued, then I'll be fucked. But after spending over $1 million in ads and working with people who have spent, multi 7 figures in ads, combined, we've never had an issue with it. The only thing that will happen is your ad account will get flagged. You might get, if you're stealing people's product images, you're stealing their product or whatever, you might get a DMCA notice, which is just Digital Millennial Copyright Act. But for the most part, what will happen is if you rip a creator's video and you run it as your own, most of the time they reach out to you personally and they'll be like, hi, I didn't give you consent to run this as a brand. Can you please take this down? You're like, holy shit, massive misunderstanding here with our creative team. We're so sorry. We'll take it down ASAP. And then that's where the issue stops. But some people do take it to the next level and they will go out and actually report you to Facebook, which is when you'll get creatives taken down, you'll get your ad accounts shut down. When it comes to tools I use, again, none of these are sponsored. There's no links in the description, so you guys know that this is what I actually use. Calidata, which is essentially just a TikTok shop spy. Very, very effective for finding products and essentially bringing them from TikTok shop over to Facebook ads. Winning Hunter, which is just a Facebook ad spy. You're essentially able to go in there with a product that already works, with ad concepts that already work, and then put your own twists on it, whether it's, offer creatives or whatever, and then get better results. And then one of the most slept on methods, I do preach this to you guys all the time, but you guys still sleep on it, is the Instagram burner method. Using an old Instagram account, making a fresh one, then going down the regular dropshipping route, because so many people do this wrong. So you want to make the account, go down the regular dropshipping route initially, like Amazon made me buy it, TikTok made me buy it, until you get dropshipping products on your screen, and then you want to choose a niche and double down on it. So I recommend beauty, going all the way down the beauty rabbit hole, and then very soon what's going to happen is your Instagram algorithm is going to think that you're a real person, and they're going to start showing you banging product. They're also going to be showing you ads, and your whole feed is just going to be filled with just winning product after winning product. But it does take a lot of time to be consistent with it, because the whole point, and the reason why it actually works is Instagram believes you're an actual person. So yeah. Okay, so hands down, the most important thing I would say when it comes to running a product test is market research. Now, what does market research actually mean? It's essentially understanding what your customers want to see, what they've tried in the past, what they're feeling. Break it down and I'll explain it more in this. So why does market research actually matter? It's the backbone of your product success. And this is what I'm really trying to get you guys to emphasize on, is someone who understands. It's for example, if I was to target you guys, if I was to run a ad, just say I was selling a course or something like that, and I was to run a Facebook ad. If I was anyone who wants to get rich, it's a pretty broad term. If I was most likely you're between the ages of 16 to 25, you're in a period of your life right now where you're pretty lonely, you've been grinding so hard for months, you haven't seen much results, your parents, they don't necessarily agree with what you're doing, but you're still pushing through it anyways. If I was to come in there with that, that's probably going to resonate with some of you guys a lot, mean that you're going to click through onto my ad and maybe buy what I'm selling at a significantly higher rate, as if I try and talk to everyone. Because if you try and talk to everyone, you're talking to no one. So yeah, it's going to improve your product hit rate exponentially. Your creatives, your offer, and your landing page all start with market research, and then it actually makes you a better marketer, because that's the whole point of e-com. You want to become a better marketer over time, then be more consistent with your product hit rate. Because if you're just blindly just throwing shit in all directions, just praying it works, you're not actively reflecting on your product test, you're never going to be getting better. And it's why in most cases, some people who go out there, they test products months, they finally hit one, they're never able to replicate it because they don't understand the marketing psychology and why that product actually worked in the first place. So what are you trying to find? Now, I came in clutch for you guys here. There's going to be a full AI deep research prompt in the description and also a full market research template that you guys can just take. You can go out. It's going to have all these different questions that you can answer about your ideal customer, which is going to give you a significant advantage on your competitors. Because trust me, if you're doing this, no one else, like fucking 95%, 99% of dropshippers just completely ignore it. It's the biggest thing that I've noticed between people who are doing no sales and who are doing 100K days, like ridiculous numbers, is their understanding of their ideal customer. So yeah, what are you trying to find? What are they saying? So, I hate how long this takes. This actually helped me. I've tried everything. Like, what my point is here is you're really trying to get insight into what people are saying within the specific niche that you're selling to. So what do they feel? Are you selling a product to people who are insecure, frustrated, overwhelmed, exhausted, behind in life? All these are core issues, what they've tried before, cheap knockoffs, DIY fix. Now, where to look? Here are just some categories that I like to run. You can also use this, competitors' websites. If they aren't importing reviews, from AliExpress or whatever, if they're just regular dropshippers, who are fucking faking their reviews, then don't go out and study it. But if they do have authentic reviews, then that is going to be a serious place for you guys to look. Finding stuff as well, YouTube vlogs. It's funny, when I was selling a migraine-based product, I was spending 20 to 30 minutes just watching mums suffer through the day. It does sound pretty miserable, but what I was then able to do is pick up specific points in their routine, specific struggles that they were facing that I didn't find anywhere else. Look in the comments and see, this really resonated with me. So you're able to essentially get a better understanding of your customer and essentially that's how you're able to target people so much more effectively. So this all ties back to the three main reasons that people buy. So, health, wealth, and relationships. And you guys can just look at them. Pretty self-explanatory. Most likely when you are running a product, it's only reasons why people will buy. So that is one thing to keep in mind, and keep in mind when you're actually targeting. When it comes to your website, the website fundamentals, I'm going to run you guys through my entire website setup. I built a website a couple months ago with my friend. I'm going to run you guys through that. It's just a one-to-one replica pretty much of my main brands that are doing really well, and you guys will be shocked about how simple it is, about how just straight to the point it really is. So the first one is show, don't tell. And what I mean by this is if you are able to show someone's insecurity being resolved, it is going to have 10 times the effect telling people. Because I see so many of you guys do this all the time, is you will break it down massive long paragraphs, why you need the product. Okay, you guys need to do this. This is why you need it. This is why it's better. If you just summarized that into you guys will see it on the website, but even your mom, even your dad, everyone nowadays is getting fucking brain rotted. Their attention spans, they're going downhill. And the whole world is essentially just falling into this goldfish mindset where they're clicking on something, they're not going to read it. How many of your mums and dads still read newspapers? They're not. And that's probably your target audience if you are selling on Facebook. What I really try to focus on is having minimal text. So having headlines emphasizing certain pain points, and then having a GIF that visually shows that pain point being resolved. Moving on now, confused people don't convert. Confused minds don't buy. It's a very common saying in sales, because you want your website to be very clear. Again, if you have lots of information everywhere, there's stuff going on over here, there's stuff going on over there, it's going to confuse people. They're not going to understand what's going on, so they're just going to click off. They have better stuff to do with their life. They have to go do this, they have to go do that. So if you're able to do that, just keep everything simple, keep everything well laid out, you're going to be fucking way better. The next thing is optimize for mobile. It's 80%, 90% of traffic comes through mobile if you are advertising, on Facebook and Instagram. So that is another thing you guys should take into mind. And yeah, a real important point is a good website won't save bad ads and a bad offer. Your creatives do 95%, 90% of the work. You're going to be selling people on that emotion, and your website just has to be a hub that is easy to use, easy to navigate, not have insanely low slow loading speeds. Which I said there, optimize image size when you can, because faster loading speeds the better. Why you'll see in a second as well with my website that I've actually built, the difference that it has, it's super simple. And when it comes to the funnel section breakdown, now what I mean by this is if you go to your analytics section of your website, you'll see there's add to cart rate, reach checkout rate, and a complete purchase rate. So basic things, if your add to cart rate is very low, it usually means that your offer isn't good, or it usually means that there's something on your website isn't attracting people at all, and it's not converting them. So if I would say a good add to cart rate is 10%. That's what I'm usually aiming for. I mean, on my main brand, we've got a 20%, 15 to 20% add to cart rate. So that's really what you guys should be focusing on. Again, it's hard to give a specific like percentage you guys should be aiming for, because it does depend on the niche that you're in. But for the most part, that's what I'm focusing on there. Reach checkout rate. Now, if you have a big drop off between cart and reach checkout, it can be due to a lot of things. So if you're using like a shit theme or something like that has a bad cart page, that can be a problem. If you are running a bunch of free gifts, there's going to be a lot of friction in the cart page. Or if you're like spamming upsells or something like that, it's going to make people just click off your website because, you know, they don't believe or they lose trust in your brand as a whole. And if, you know, it's pretty simple. As long as your cart looks good, as long as it's like has a bit of breathing room, has a bit of space, use space to your advantage. You see with something like most big brands out there, they use space strategically. You don't want the whole website to just be chocked, like your cart page to be chocked and stuff like that. So when it comes to reach checkout, complete purchase, if you guys are experiencing a big drop off between checkout and complete purchase, the biggest thing that I would recommend for you guys to do is to make sure you are using native currency, which I'll show you how to set up in a minute in markets. Is your shipping set up correctly? Like, is there a huge fee? Have you accidentally like written something wrong as a shipping page? Are your payment options clear? And is your page good as a whole? Like, do you have your logo on it? Are you able to just, like, if you're using PayPal, fucking chuck PayPal in there. There's a lot of different stuff that you guys can do, but the main one that I see a lot of the time is, think about it. If you're Australian or if you're Canadian or something like that, and you see someone's offer, you click on someone's ads and they're running to a website which is in USD, you get to check out, the order goes from being $30 to being like $45, $50. So that doubling in price pretty much, it's like 1.6 right now, 1.66, it might be a little bit less, but USD to AUD to USD is significantly higher. So that's one thing that you guys should keep in mind. I'll put up on screen now my website breakdown so you guys can get a bit more of an understanding of what I'm doing and how I'm running everything. All right, so we're on Shopify now. I'll essentially run you guys through everything, or how to set up everything on the back end as well, because there's a lot of stuff that you guys might be skipping over, which is very important, and a couple things that I like to do. So this is a store that I was kind of just running my friend through like a month ago. He was trying to get into drop shipping, so I kind of just went through the whole process with him, building out the store. We chose a product pretty quick because we were under a time constraint. First thing I like to do is come into general, change my store to your store name, add in, like, just fill out all that information. That's my old address, so yeah, that's not actually my address. Change your currency to US dollar. You can just kind of leave all that shit the same. Now come into markets, and then what I like to do is set up markets. So I like to do UK and USA in their own market, and if I click on here as well, you'll see the setting that you have, like, or you want to change the native currency to the country that like the market's actually targeting. So USA, obviously US dollar, Great British Pound, but you can only add 3 markets on the starter account. So what I like to do initially is group Canada and Australia. And the reason why I do that is because the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar are pretty similar. If one of the countries starts taking over in the CBO campaign, then you can switch the native currency to that country. But for the most part, that's just what I like to run there. So set that up. Now, once you've set up markets, you can come into shipping, set up shipping, which is here. Now, there's a couple tricks that you can do for shipping that I like to do. If you are charging shipping, you can add like conditional pricing and stuff like that. But for the most part, you can just do international shipping, name it like free track shipping. If you want to go the one step further, you can name it native to the country, like USPS, Royal Mail. That's something that we do for our brands. It's something that no one really talks about as well, to actually help boost your conversion rate. Now, when it comes to actually importing the product, a lot of you guys are confused on this, on how you actually ship the product out. It's literally the most simple thing ever. I recommend using CJ Dropshipping. It's free. This isn't a fucking paid promo or anything, but just in the earlier stages, it's a pretty reliable platform, up until the point where you're doing like 10 to 15 orders per day and you transition to a private supplier. So you set this up, you essentially just go through the whole process. This is literally just one of my, you can search in your product here on CJ Dropshipping. Once you find a product, I've literally just selected this one. Once you find your product on here, just click list and then just go through this. Boom, do that, product type, just fucking all this random stuff, list it now. And then that'll come up on your store. I mean, I haven't used CJ Dropshipping in ages, so I think that's how you still do it. Don't take my word on it. Although, you guys, it's super, super simple, and that's it. And then from there, you should be able to top it up connect your card or whatever, and then they will ship the products out directly. Now, if you aren't making any sales yet, like to give you guys a bit of context as well, I will literally make a store for a product without even having it sourced, post the ads. If it does start getting sales, it does start getting traction, then I will find a way to source the product. But in the earlier stages, I really don't care. It might be an extra week of shipping, but I'll usually reach out to those customers, offer them a 10% refund, because the goal here is to be as proactive as possible. Most of you guys already know what to do. You're just like kind of procrastinating. And I can say that from my own experience as well, because I used to do it. You're like looking, okay, let's find the perfect supplier. Let's find this, let's find that. You do all these different stuff. And when it actually comes to the bits of highest leverage, like fucking making the ads, doing all this different stuff, you struggle and you aren't able to get any sales. So this was the website here. Very, very basic. You guys will see. Your website doesn't do the selling, your ads do. As long as your website is functioning, it clearly shows what your product does, and you back it up with a pretty decent offer, that's all it really takes. I know a lot of you guys are looking for the magic pill, like the magic formula for websites, but at the end of the day, it's really not that complicated. I took this template one-to-one from my main brand, and if you guys saw it at the start, I'll put a photo up on screen. It's got 10% or almost 10% conversion rate on $1 million plus in sales, which really does show that you don't need much. So yeah, you guys can just see here, this product image here was made with ChatGPT. All of these literally just came from ripping our competitors. That's what I like to do in the earlier stages, is just rip my competitors' images. And you'll see here, what I'm really focusing on is showing people rather than telling. It is so much more important to show the plaque being visually removed from their dog's teeth than say, removes fucking plaque in seconds, or like having a massive paragraph breaking down exactly how it works. So that is one thing I would recommend for you guys to run, and it's definitely the most important point of leverage, is especially if you're running insecurity driven products, show it. Like show the product being applied, then show the result. Like have that desired result on your product page, and you're going to find your conversion rate goes up significantly. Completely forgot as well, click in the top right, click mobile. This was optimized for mobile. So yeah, now when it comes to the offer as well, just quickly, I forgot to cover this, split test offers. And the way that you do this is, I'll quickly show you guys because it's pretty important. You go into Kaching Bundles, then click Run A/B Test in the top right here. Click that, and then you're essentially able to make an A variant, a B variant. It's going to send, it will evenly distribute traffic to each one of your orders. And this is how you're able to start getting a decent offer dialed in. Because, you know, if a quantity break, if a buy one, get one free isn't really working for this product, and instead it's like a free ebook on how to keep your pet's dental health in check, that's the offer that's crushing it. You can't force that. And it's one of the things you have to understand is that you don't know what the customer wants. They know what they want. I'll keep breaking down this product page, just essential, like just a couple drop down menus here, some reviews. I would like to add a photo in there. That's pretty helpful. Just basic again, like as long as your product somewhat shows what it does, as long as people can get a decent understanding, that's it. Like that's all you need. If you're selling products at a higher ticket, then maybe I get, but at the same time, it's like just very, very simple. You can see like this is honestly it. This is everything that I did. Your homepage again is just super, super simple. You'll see here, it's like just a photo of a fucking dog, summer sale, get 50% off. I just put a little Our Vision statement there. It's, yeah, just a very, very simple website. Now, another thing as well, I tried to whip this up with a free theme. If you can use Shrine Pro, it is fucking way better, and you will be able to cook up some crazy stuff. But this theme is literally just a fucking crack day beautify, I think. So yeah, for the most part, super simple. It's literally just like images with text, and then a couple custom CSS liquids. So that is honestly the website. That's everything you guys need to be doing. Again, don't underestimate the website. Like don't do absolutely nothing, but at the same time, don't go all in on the website and think it's all to do with that, because 99% of the time it's due to your creatives and it's due to your offer. The website just kind of holds everything together. Okay, so making your offer. Now, making a good offer, it comes down to a few things. And I'm going to quickly break down on what not to do, because this is one thing that you guys who are in dropshipping, or you're in your earlier stages of dropshipping, try to do, is you try to compete on price. And what I mean by this is you see your competitors and you're like, oh, you know, fucking, they're running it at $50, buy one, get one free. I'm going to run it at $35, buy one, get one free. Instead of competing on price, you guys need to be competing on ads, perceived value. Competing on price is the dumbest thing ever, because overall, I'll break it down in a minute, but the more you're able to spend. Like the higher your AOV is, the more you're able to spend on ads. Facebook is going to prioritize people who can spend more to acquire customers, which means that you're going to win the bidding battle. So positioning your product as cheap instead of valuable. Again, this links back to this one competing only on price. If you're selling a really good beauty product for $10, people are going to be turned off by it subconsciously. They're like, I don't really want to buy this because maybe it'll damage my skin. Why is it so cheap? Then you can question your whole brand narrative. Again, chasing lower and lower margins, race to the bottom. You don't want to do that. Just linking back to that original point. And overcomplicating your offer. This links back into the stage where I was saying that confused minds don't buy. You want to keep your offer simple and makes as much sense as possible and is as logical as possible to the person as you possibly can. You don't want to go out there and be like, buy one, just say you're selling a migraine product. You don't want to be like, buy a fucking migraine mask, get a free ashwagandha gummy, or an ashwagandha or something like that. It has to be relevant, and yeah, you just want to keep it as simple as possible. Simple wins, easy wins. So how to actually build a strong offer? The easiest one is just study your competitors and see what they're running, seeing what's working for them. Because chances are, if they're doing if you got a SimilarWeb, which is a tool that sees the amount of traffic that guys are getting to their website, if they're not running a pre-lander, like an advertorial or something like that, and they're just running straight to the product page, you know that those guys are doing decent with that offer, and they're doing pretty well. So I like to study that. In the earlier stages when I am launching, I will rip the offer one-to-one, and then I'll have a few other offers as well based on my personal decisions until that point that I do have data and I'm able to then go, okay, this offer here has the highest rev per visitor. Let's start going after this one. Or, okay, this one here is performing significantly better. Let's run this one. So yeah, that's another thing is database decisions, and don't be biased, because a lot of you guys think you know what the customer wants, but the only person that knows what the customer wants is the customer. So it's why it's very important to make database decisions. And it's why I do recommend to test very wide initially with your offers, test quantity breaks, test free gifts, test drastically different price points, so you're able to see what's working, see what customers are willing to spend. Because yeah, I mentioned this before, but the more you charge, the higher your CPA can be, which means you can spend more to acquire customers, which means that Facebook is going to prioritize you. Okay, so moving on to the ads manager side of things now and the creative side of things. So what I will show you guys is, I'll just do it now. I'll pop up a video on screen of exactly how I set up my campaigns so you guys know what to do there. And I'll also put a video up on screen of how to set up your columns so you're able to read data correctly, because a lot of you guys might be using the wrong settings. You might be doing CPC all, CTR all, and then basing your judgments off there, but there's a couple changes you need to make. So I'll put that video up on screen so you guys can get a better understanding of how I run everything like that. And then the rest of the video is going to make a lot more sense. Okay, so setting up the ad account now. Very, very simple. We're just going to click this. We're going to click sales. It doesn't give you the option for manual sales campaign anymore, so you just have to run it off ADV, which is a little bit annoying, but I guess it is what it is. So, name it. I mean, in the earlier stages, you don't have to be too specific with your naming, but when you do get start getting agencies involved, and you actually do begin to outsource your ads or your media buying side of things, it does help to have everything organized from the start. So I'm just going to name it CBO top 4. We're going to do buying type as auction, campaign objective as sales. We're going to leave this. This is in AUD, this ad account. I would recommend between 100 to or 50 to 100 USD. So I'm just going to do 100 AUD to keep everything simple. We're going to do campaign budget, not ad set budget. Campaign budget is CBO, ad set budget is ABO. I don't really fuck around with ABO, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to leave everything like this the same. Leave all this. I'm going to leave all this the same. At the ad set level, we're going to name this. How I name it, I mean, it's not too big of a deal in the earlier stages. Again, I just like it from an organization perspective. Tag 101, very simple, just the first ad set. I like to start it at 100, and a lot of people do that as well. So top 4 countries, Australia, Canada, US, and UK are the only real ones that I'd recommend to you guys in the beginning. Female/male, 18 plus, automatic placement, optimizing for purchase, broad, and then your ad type, so statics, videos, or whatever. We're going to click on website, maximize number of conversions, not maximize value. This is just an old product test of mine, so I can leave all this in. Conversion event, you always want to go to purchase. You never want to start with add to cart. I know a lot of people say, or ChatGPT will probably tell you to start with optimizing for add to cart or reach checkout. always start with purchase. We're going to set it, or we're going to queue ads for our ad account time zone. We're not going to queue it for the time zone that we're launching the ads in. It's always based on the ad account. We can leave all this the same because we're running fully broad. Locations, we're going to add United States. Why does it keep doing it? I think I have my hand on my keyboard or something. It keeps bringing up emojis. We're going to do United States. Boom. United Kingdom. And then Canada. So that's going to be like that. Leave all this the exact same. Coming into the ad level now, we're going to go ahead and name this #101. I'm just going to do it for simplicity reasons. You should go through and actually name them correctly. But just, I'm going to name it like this just for now. I'm going to click manual upload. You can select your Facebook page, an Instagram account. I would recommend making an Instagram account just when it comes to actually handling Instagram comments. It becomes a lot easier. Leave all this the exact same. Turn off multi-level advertisements. I'm going to paste our website product page in there. Do all this. When it comes to setting up your ads, so you can see here, I'll essentially run you guys through it. There should be some creatives in here, yeah. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention as well, when it comes to like your ad sets, leave one concept per ad set. So for example, if you're running a product, just try to keep it one desire per ad set instead of just having like a bunch of different desires, because that way it keeps it a lot more organized, and it also allows for Facebook to allocate spend easier. Because if you have like it all grouped around, or if you have this different desires within each ad set, it can fuck everything around. So setting up creative, redo this, just click on one of them. So just say this is one video, this is the second hook concept of that video, and this is the third hook concept of that video. We can click this, come down here, I fucking leave all that the same. Leave this. Primary text, pretty self-explanatory, just like text 1. Whatever your text would be, just get ChatGPT to generate it. Text 2, we're going to test 2 primary texts, and then we're going to test text 1, text 2. And then description, you can do like free shipping, something like that, or like your offer, but most of the time I don't fuck around with description. Set your call to action as shop now. Enhancements, turn everything off. Turn all this stuff off. We'll try and get you to leave it on, but yeah, turn everything off except for comments. Leave them on. So that's done. This is all good. UTM parameters, if you're using like Triple Whale or any external tracking platform, chuck the UTM parameters in there. And then when it comes to like making the 3 other variations, just dupe it. Dupe it 2 times. And then essentially go through, add your other videos in. Add the other videos in, and then leave the text the same. You just want to change the video. So what we can do then is how we're able to essentially look at which text is performing the best is if you go to here, breakdown, and then you scroll to the bottom, you guys will have, it's like alternate settings or something like that. And then you click on text. That's how you'll be able to see which headline, which text is actually taking most of the spend, and which way you'll be able to like come to the conclusion on which one is the best. So yeah, that's how you do that. And then country, very self-explanatory. Click on that when you want to see which country is taking the most amount of spend, which one's performing the best. But yeah, anyways, what I'll do now is I'll show you exactly how to set up the like columns and how to make your own columns so you're actually reading the correct data. Okay, so when it comes to actually setting up your columns so you can get like, or actually be able to read data correctly, because there is a couple things like you'll see here with unique like link click-through rate and cost per link click. They're a little bit different to as if you were to select like performance, delivery, performance and clicks and stuff like that. It gives you CTR all, it gives you CPC all, which aren't like that effective as, because like click then can be someone like clicking on your ad. Like it doesn't necessarily mean like link click-through rate. So when it comes to the settings that I run, everyone runs it differently. But these are just the most effective ones. This is all the information that I really need to use. So you run campaign name, then you'll do delivery, budget, purchases, untick everything, add to cart, conversion value, untick everything there. Actually, it should be, cost per add to cart. I like to add that, Purchase conversion value, untick everything, purchase ROAS, untick that. Campaign name, this should be at the top. I'll drag that up there. And then purchase ROAS, add to carts, unique link click-through rate. So you'll see here, if I do CTR, it'll come up with CTR all. You want to click unique CTR, or you can do unique outbound. I just like to use unique CTR. I don't even really know the difference, to be honest with you. I haven't studied that deep into it. Per link click, and then CPM, cost per purchase. And when it comes to actually adding hook rate and hold rate, they aren't a metric themselves. So what you have to do is you have to customize. If you come into customize and then make metric, so go to customize, create custom metric, click that, and then you do, for hold rate, do through plays divided by impressions, name it hold rate, and then change format to percentages, save that as a metric. And then for hook rate, it is 3-second plays divided by impressions, name it hook rate, change it to percentage, and then that's how you'll be able to see what percentage of people actually stop their thumb. So they're scrolling through, they see your ad, what percent of people actually stop and watch the first 3 seconds. Hold rate is what percent of people actually watch past those 3 seconds and watch the rest of your ad. So yeah, that's essentially how I set up the Facebook columns, so I'm able to read through data correctly. What I'll show you guys now is how to actually read the data and how to actually break down what you're seeing and know whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it can be improved, just everything like that. So yeah, jump into the Miro board, break all that down. Okay, so you guys saw how to set up everything. Now, how to actually read metrics. What am I looking for? What am I scaling off? The whole process. And I'm also going to be showing you how to make good creatives as well. So going through the Facebook metrics side of things first, I'm going to save creatives to last because it's one of the most important points and it does need to be covered in detail. So yeah, how to read metrics. The most important thing when it comes to reading metrics is to not obsess over your metrics after 24 hours. You are literally running your Facebook ad accounts, if you're not changing or messing around with the attribution windows, you're running off 1-day view, 7-day click, which means that Facebook's whole goal is to optimize for a lower cost per acquisition over 7 days, which means that you need to essentially be willing to spend for 2 to 3 days minimum. I recommend 7 days, which is why with the whole product launch phase, like I just broke down to you guys previously, you want to take your time with it. Like, you don't have to launch. I've been through the stage. You can scroll back on my channel where I was launching 1 product a day. I've been through everything. But for the most part now, what I'm noticing and what I'm like, a lot of guys that I work with, myself included, is the best results come from products that you put a lot of time, like you find out what the market wants to see, what offer should you run, like actually putting time into editing up your creatives. So that's the best thing, or that's how I see product hit rates. Like, my product hit rate at the moment is insane. I don't want to be the guy who just goes out here and flexes, but at the same time, I have a very high product hit rate now, and I'm pretty confident with my product selection process. Yeah, again, like, obsessing over it. Facebook's still optimizing, testing audiences. You're on a very fresh pixel. Metrics fluctuate, especially at a lower spend, because you're not selling to robots, right? Every single day, especially when you're not spending that much money on Facebook, people are going to have different stuff going on in their lives. Maybe someone's just paid rent that would have usually bought. Maybe someone's just had to send their parents a lot of money, or maybe like different people are in different financial situations. It's only when the law of averages comes into play and you guys do start scaling like past $1,000 a day that you will start to see consistencies, because what will happen initially is you'll be on the ROAS roller coaster, and the reason why this happens is the conversion rate on your store will fluctuate so much. It's like funny, when I first started dropshipping, I would be there, like I would be on 3-4 ROAS one day, the next day I would be on 1.8 ROAS, my conversion rate's down 70%, and I'm like, everything's fucked. I'm putting my hands up, I'm like, nah, like something's gone wrong. I'm going through, checking my Facebook comments, I'm checking like the website, checking like the add to cart rate and all that stuff. I'm like, it literally can't, something has to be wrong. Failing to understand that because I'm not showing that many people, and because I don't have that large sample size in, there's going to be massive swings initially. So I will break that down when I cover the scaling side of things in more detail, but just to set the premise there on how to actually read your metrics and how to actually digest them just keep that in mind. Okay, so when it comes to actually reading your metrics, what you should care about, what you shouldn't care about, how you should go about that whole process. Because if you saw from my campaign setup, the way that I run things is I test and I scale in the exact same campaign. Shout out to the Evolve boys. Like, that's the course, or that's the mentorship I'm currently in. That's what they run. They are crushing it with that. There's people doing 100K days in it, 200K days. Like, there is insane numbers. So I know that strategy works at scale. And it's really just about putting your trust in Facebook, understanding that 95% of Facebook's revenue comes from advertising, which means that if they didn't have a good and smart AI system that wasn't optimized with the only intention of getting your desired result, whether that's purchases, whether it's website signups or whatever, if they didn't have that goal and they weren't good at it, then they would be out of business. No one would fucking spend money with them. So the way that I like to base my judgment is off amount spent and ROAS. So if I launch, just say I launch 16 ads into a campaign, a couple different ad sets, let's just say this. If none of these ads spend and one of these ads, like just say this is 4 ads. If one of these ads is taking all of the spend, there is a reason why this ad is spending. I'm going to let it spend. It might not hit my KPI target ROAS. And the most important thing I want you guys to understand is just because an ad's taking spend doesn't mean it's a winning ad. If your Facebook is choosing from which pile of trash to like fucking allocate its spend to, your result is still going to be pretty bad. You haven't had the time to then go out and find, okay, this is taking all of the spend. Why is it spending? Is it the hook? The visuals at the start? Like, what is actually grabbing the people's attention? What's actually making them, like, what's making this ad spend? Because ads can spend for the wrong reason as well. Facebook is purely basing its judgment on data. And it's what I will break down in hook rate in a second when it comes to analyzing your hook rate. It's why it's so important in including a relevant hook to your product. Because if I was to put in my hook, Sophie Rain throwing it in circles or fucking, you know, something random like that, my hook rate is going to be insanely high. But like, you guys are fucking horny. So they're going to watch the video and they're going to be super hyped up. And then I try and sell them on some women's fucking under eye bags that Facebook is not going to understand what's going on. And it's going to see the hook rate. It's going to be like, okay, well, obviously someone's engaged in this. Let's go ahead and throw all of our spend there. But it's not going to get any sales because it's completely irrelevant. So that's why it's super important as well to keep your hooks. Like when it comes to making your videos, be very specific with your hook, but don't go out and just be completely random. It has to be somewhat relevant. And if you are, when it comes to actually making iterations of your winning creative, that's all it can take in some cases. Is this creative might be spending, it might be doing very, very like poorly performance-wise. It might not be hitting your KPI. It might be sitting at like a 1.5 ROAS. If you're able then to go out and make a different hook around it, and you're able to essentially give the face like something fresh, a hook that actually resonates with that target customer better, that can be the only thing that changes the performance of that creative and makes it a winning ad. A good ad with like, or a shit ad with a great hook will be exponentially better than a very, very good ad with a poor hook. Because think about it, people are just goldfishes. That's like, you have to look at and understand the human psychology side of things. They're just going to be scrolling. You have to be very, very good in grabbing people's attention and then nurturing them through the whole video to get them to the point where they think that your product is the desired result. And it's why making like this whole process, it does take a long time to get good at. It takes like 6 to 12 months you guys should be aiming for. It might sound completely foreign to a lot of you guys, but there is a lot that goes into it. It's easy me just saying stuff, but most of this stuff took me like months and years to really, like, even then, it's like the more you know, the less you know. I'm at a pretty decent position in ecom. I do stuff, it works out, but at the same time, compared to fucking Hudson, the owner of Comfort, like I'm a tadpole and he's a shark. So not glazing there or anything, but at the same time, it's just putting it into comparison. A lot of you guys just don't have time in the game and you're not able to understand what to do, what not to do when it comes to your creative process. Relating it back to this point, like the only thing you should care about is amount spent and ROAS. Is what most of you guys will be doing is you'll be launching ads into your campaign. One ad will take all of the spend. An ad that isn't taking like barely any spend, it'll get a sale, it'll get a lucky sale, and you'll see 15, 20 ROAS in there. And then you guys will turn off that top spending ad. And it honestly, it could have been a winner if you just given it a day more, 2 days more. I like to let ads run in the testing phase. When I'm testing a product for about 3 days, if I'm not seeing any traction within that 3 days, then I'll turn it off. And I'll usually launch iterations around that specific creative, or I'll launch creatives around that specific concept. Because if a concept is doing very well, like for example, if you're selling fucking acne cream, like if you're selling an acne cream to moms, to guys, to all this, and there's a creative that's spending very, very high and it's targeting towards moms, but it's not converting, I would then go out and I would begin to launch creatives around that concept, like around mums. And then you can go down the angles, like you can go down unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. Most of you guys won't know what that is. You should look into it a lot. It's the awareness levels of marketing. But it is a little bit more advanced. I probably shouldn't have brought that up, but at the same time, you're essentially then able to get multiple different creatives out of a specific concept, and you're able to then start to get an understanding of what your audience doesn't want to see and what they do want to see. So yeah, that was how I essentially find my winning creatives. That's how I go by analyzing my results, because you'll see here, like when it comes to analyzing cost per click as an example, I don't really care about cost per click in the first 7. I don't really care about cost per click at all, because cost per click depends on CPM. It also depends on click-through rate, which click-through rate you can control your click-through rate. CPM just depends on how competitive your industry is. And high CPMs usually mean either a competitive market, or they mean that you have an ad account restriction, penalty, pixel issue, something like that. So it's hard to differentiate which one. I like to call up Meta if I'm getting very, very bad CPMs and be like, look, is there anything wrong with my account? For the most part, that's all you guys need to be focusing on. Or for the most part, I don't have a target CPM. So when it comes to your click-through rate, if you have a very weak click-through rate, I like to aim for 2% plus on click-through rate, because what it essentially measures is how well your creative is resonating with your audience. So again, putting a lot of focus. Is your hook rate good? Is it grabbing the attention of your buyers fast enough? Is your call to action strong enough? Like, are people getting hooked in, but they're not clicking through? So you're essentially able to go through and troubleshoot specific parts of the creative process and be like, okay, this has a very strong hook, but no one's clicking through. Let's go through, let's change the call to action at the end and see if that does better. Okay, sweet. Now we've got a 3% call to action, as before it was 1%. We've gone ahead and tripled our results, and then you can then go and apply that call to action to different creatives and see a better click-through rate as a whole. So yeah, I like to aim for a 2% click-through rate on average. It's not a huge deal. Again, final notes, like low CPCs to no sales is pointless. If you're getting $5 CPCs, but you're still getting a lot of sales, that's all that matters. So optimize based on rev per visitor. And the only thing that you should really be caring about, again, is amount spent and ROAS. The faster you're able to detach your emotions from the results, the faster you will grow. And what I mean by this is, again, making massive emotional based decisions on, okay, this ad is taking all of the spend within 6 hours. Let's go ahead and turn it off and give the other ads a chance to spend. You have to be very tactical and very move with precision with dropshipping in order to maximize your results. So yeah, hook rate, I like to aim for about 25 to 30%. Again, hook rate is very dependent on your product. Like if you use a very visual product, most likely it will be able to have a higher hook rate, as if you're selling like a supplement or something like that doesn't have a massive weight loss shredded goal. You're selling it to people who have sore stomachs or something like that. I don't know, I'm just pulling an example out of fucking thin air here. But yeah, if you're doing that, it does depend. And again, a good hook rate, like if you're pushing 60 to 70% by showing something that's completely irrelevant, then it doesn't matter. So the point that I'm trying to get to here is all it depends on is your amount spent and your ROAS. That's pretty much it. So when it comes to making creatives for your product, I'm going to put some links up on screen, because I have made a couple videos now of me showing how I make live examples. Like I made an AI voiceover ad. I've made examples out of ripped ads. I've made music ads. Some products perform better with different types of creatives. And it's why you have to go out and you have to study your competitors and see what kind of ads that they're running. Okay, I'm selling a supplement. Let's see what the competitor's running. Okay, they're only running VSL style videos, which means that it's most likely going to be performing very well for them. Or if you're selling an insecurity driven product, the person is only running UGC content or music ads or problem solution, anything like that. That means that ad format is working for them. And it's why, tying it back to market research, the market research is everything. You're able to improve your hit rate by studying your competitors, and you're able to essentially go in with no guesswork. You're able to go in with full clarity. Okay, I know that this offer works. I know that this creative format works. I know that XYZ works. I'm going to go ahead and make this creative 10 times better that's firing at a similar concept. Or if there's too much saturation in that similar concept, or that avatar, if there's a million competitors only going after busy mums, can I target a different avatar? Can I target fucking single moms? Can I target married mom, or dads or whatever? So that's how you're able to essentially tap in as well to different desires, is by understanding through market research, there is definitely demand here, but no one's targeting it. Let's go out. Let's make our creatives around that. So bang, that is how you like absolutely crush it with and like improve your creative hit rate at a significantly higher percentage. Because yeah, you sell people in the creative. I was talking about that through the website. Like, you don't sell people on the website, you sell them through the creative. So yeah, if you're selling like a supplement style product, it most likely will be like VSL style videos that perform well. If you're selling like an insecurity driven product that has a fast result, leveraging that fast result and hooking with it. I don't know why I did there. It should be hooking with the visual result. That is how you're going to be able to see results at a significantly better rate, and how your creators are actually going to be able to spend is because of that. So when it comes to scaling your campaigns, now scaling is very, very simple. The only time that you're going to be scaling is when you hit your target ROAS. Now, I like to scale at 20 to 30% each day. I know a lot of you guys are fucking doubling your budgets, 10xing your budgets. I'm just saying from my perspective, scaling at 20% each day, it is the best way to do it. So the way that you're going to do that, the way you find your target ROAS is by first finding your break-even ROAS, and go to this tool here. You guys can go to any tool again, like nothing in this video is sponsored. So yeah, go to that tool there. For product cost, include shipping. It will say product cost in there. Make sure you include shipping within that. And yeah, like if your break-even ROAS is 1.1 to 1.4, your target ROAS, I recommend to be around 2.5. If it's between 1.5 to 2, it should be around 2.5 to 3, 3.5, around that. It just depends on what margins you guys want to scale off. That's a good one there. Now, your break-even ROAS should never exceed 2, as long as you're following the 3x markup rule. So yeah, every time you hit that, you're able to scale up. After 3 days of not hitting your KPI, so after not hitting the target ROAS, then you're able to essentially downscale. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the whole process. I tried to cover absolutely everything in this video. If you guys found this useful, subscribe, and that's pretty much it. Message me on Instagram if you have any questions. Peace.